Hey folks, good to see you again for another video devotional. This one's entitled, If Everyone Worked the Harvest Fields. The base passage of Scripture is Luke 10:2. It reads this way, He told them, The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send out workers into his harvest field. In church life, there is a common statement that is very sad, but often true. It goes like this: 20% of the people do 80% of the work in the church. At times, this might be because the 20% has a hard time sharing or delegating the workload. At times, it might be a control issue on the part of the 20%. But most often, it is because the 80% aren't joining in the labors for Christ in the church. Are we part of the 20% or the 80%? If we are in one camp or the other, my question is why? Think about this for a moment. Are we only attending worship in our church and doing nothing or little else? Are we only taking from the church and what the church offers, like youth ministry, children's ministry, family ministry, worship, Bible studies, fellowship times, and not giving back? In essence, are we takers without being givers as well? There is another saying we might be familiar with. It goes like this: you get out of something what you put into it. I wonder what a church would look like if everyone associated with that church were to serve God in some capacity in the life of that church. What if everyone in the church considered themselves workers in the harvest fields that Christ has for us? I mean, we can all help somewhere, right? What would a church look like where all members worked the harvest fields? Here are some ideas and suggestions. What if everyone who came to worship at a particular church personally invited others, often, even weekly, to attend worship with them? What if those who used a particular ministry, children's ministry, youth ministry, Bible studies, small groups, worship, counseling services, etc., offered to help in another area of the church's ministry? The 20% would be excited, even tickled, that others were entering the harvest field with them. Maybe the 20% would increase to 50% or even close to 100%. Wouldn't that be wonderful? That's not a question, but a statement. Do we know that most of the ministries in our church could use more help? What would it look like if 80% of the people were involved in the ministries of the church? What if we all helped in some capacity, making the load lighter for others and enabling us to do more for Jesus? Although 20% of the people do 80% of the work, they cannot do that 80% well because they are so stretched. I would imagine if 80% or 100% were involved in doing the labor of the Lord at our church, the amount of work and the quality of the work would increase and improve. It just makes sense, right? So where are we helping our church? Do we feel like we just don't have the time to help? Do we feel we just don't have the abilities to help? If these thoughts fit us, what about being a generous giver so that we might hire others to do what you feel you don't have the time or abilities to do? Did we know that a tithe of a $40,000 annual family income is $4,000 a year, or about $77 a week in offering? Of course, a tithe on a family income of $80,000 would be $8,000, or about $154 a week in offering. We can easily figure out our tithe. Just saying. By the way, we are all called to tithe and sacrificially give, and we are all called to serve in some capacity. So you can't give your way out of serving. It's just a thought. Luke 10:2, he told them, the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send out workers into his harvest field. Today, my prayer is that the Lord would increase the workers at our church to enable us to harvest the fields around our church for Jesus. Will we all step up and say, Lord, here I am, use me? We are in the summer season when some people are looking for a church home come the fall. What could we do to draw others to our church and keep them here when they arrive? What are we giving or what are we willing to give up in order to serve God? Where is God calling us to serve? The third part of our mission statement is to send people out to serve Christ. This is not always outside the church, but often inside as well. What gifts has God given us to be used to his glory? If you would like to serve but can't find a place, contact me or another church leader, please. We can find a place for you to work in the harvest fields of the Lord for sure. Just something for us to think about today as we go on our way. God bless you.